In terms of blood in horror movies, there isn't a dry spot in this movie. The Belko Experiment stars Robert Gallagher Jr., John C. McGinley, Tony Goldwyn, and is directed by Greg McLean. What's up, guys? Quick little shout out. My buddy Dylan Clancy, he constantly tells me about this movie called The Belko Experiment. I did not get a chance to see it in theaters when it came out. And because he told me so much about it, I figured I'd give him a shout out in this, and he's a good friend. But I went ahead and rented this. It's out on Blu-ray right now, I believe. I will post my Amazon affiliate link below so you can go and you can rent it or you can buy it. But whatever you do, it supports the channel, and I appreciate that. But the Belko Experiment is kind of like the Office Space of horror movies. You know, the whole thing is set in this cubicle environment in Mexico, and then there's this experiment that happens, or this voice over the intercom says, you have to kill so many people, and if you don't, then we're gonna double that and kill that many. And that is the plot of this movie. It is one of those really simple, yet effective movies. And I think I even said this on Scream Stream recently, that when you're dealing with horror movies, it's always better to keep it simple, because it seems like the simplest horror movies work the best. But this is one of those what would you do in this situation type films, which are always fun, and it's always fun to have a conversation afterwards just to kind of discuss, okay, what would you do in this situation? Because what I might do might not be what you would do. And this is a scenario that really just begs that question. And I like that they have this pretty big group, actually. I mean, there's almost 80 people in this building, and eventually you know that most of them are going to be dead. And so you know that there's going to be these people, like the main character, Mike, played by Robert Gallagher Jr., who is going to say, no, I am not going to kill anybody. You know, I am black and white on this. There's no way that I am going to take another life to save my own. And then you're going to have people like Barry, who is played by Tony Goldwyn, who should be in the Dick Hole Hall of Fame. This guy is always a complete douchebag in every movie that he plays, and that's a compliment. He does such a damn good job. I mean, he was in Ghost. And by the way, the guy doesn't age at all either. I don't know what kind of diet he's on or what kind of exercise regimen he's into, but I need that information. And then I have to talk about John C. McGinley, who plays Wendell. He's more on the Barry side of things. He sees himself as kind of the alpha male. He wants to pick off all the weaklings, I guess you could say. He's all about self-preservation. And so you're gonna see all these conversations that go on throughout this movie, and it gets really chaotic and really bloody. And interestingly enough, Mike is dating this girl named Leandra, and they actually kind of have opposing views. Not as far spread out as, say, Mike and Barry, but she kind of sees, you know, the need for self-preservation, not just waiting to die. If there's something I can do that can better my chances to live, then why not do that? And there's also these scenarios in this movie where you kind of partition off certain groups, like say everybody over 60 over here, if you have any kids, come over here. So really they kind of cover all the bases as far as figuring out the pecking order of the whole thing. There were quite a few times in this movie where I was like, no, I don't think this would happen because of this, and oh, they address it, you know. So they pretty much cover all their bases, which I gotta give James Gunn props for, who wrote this thing. Now let's talk about the horror aspect of this movie. It is gory as hell. It doesn't hold back, as it shouldn't, because when you have a situation like this, if this movie would have been rated PG-13, it would not have worked. You really need to show the violence in a movie like this. And it becomes a bloodbath. That's the best way to put it. I mean, the screen is soaked with blood by the end of this movie. And there's some pretty creative kills in there too. One involves an elevator, and you're gonna see a lot of axe wounds, death by handguns, death by rifles. The filmmakers actually take a lot of bloody avenues. Now, as far as any cons, this is the type of movie that you might pick apart because I think everybody's different in a situation like this. I might not buy into what, say, the Barry character is doing. You know, as a matter of fact, early on in this movie, I was like, there's no way that somebody would go to that extreme. But I could be wrong. I mean, and I probably am. There are people that would take the route that Barry takes in this. Also, at the end of this movie, you might have kind of an empty feeling inside. Even though you had a good time with the movie, it kind of leaves you like, wow, that was a lot to take in. But overall, guys, the horror fan inside of me loved the hell out of this. I had a great time with it. I'm gonna give it a purchase worthy. It was a fun ride. That's the perfect word for it. It's a ride. And there's not a dry moment in the Belko Experiment, no pun intended. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on the Belko Experiment? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, just a quick announcement. I recently did a Scream Stream episode, and it was just me and Cody Leach, and we had more viewers than we've ever had. So this Scream Stream seems like it's kind of taken off. It's doing really well. But there's 4 of us in the Scream Stream, and our schedules are kind of different. So we're probably gonna have to alternate it. We're gonna do every Tuesday still, but we're gonna do 11 a.m. and then maybe the next Tuesday we're gonna do prime time again. So that way everybody can participate. But thank you guys for supporting Scream Stream. We have such a blast. We talk horror for a good hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. And we mostly talk about a topic at hand, and we also talk about the current news in horror. And sometimes we'll branch out and talk about, you know, comic book films or whatever. Also, come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day, every day, and on Fridays we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. If you like what I'm doing, please hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.